right, 6:30, we'll start the meeting. So we do have executives? No?
Two listed.
Two, yep.
Any need for any further? No?
Nope.
Any need to amend the agenda? Actually, there is. So we gotta take off the first two new business items, the recreation area event and Pittsford Village Farm update is gonna come off, and we need to add liquor board.
Liquor board.
Anybody have anything else? I have a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anything on the select board minutes of May 15th?
I wasn't here, but I have something.
Okay.
I wasn't here, but I made a motion.
You did?
Well, that's not right
On an
then.
executive session or something? Did I?
No, it was the discussion of the enhanced energy plan, motion by
Wow.
Mark Winslow.
Oh, you did?
And I was absent, so I can tell you I didn't make it.
Interesting.
Okay.
After I left.
I know, I'm trying to remember who did this so we can fix it.
Where is that?
It's the second block there. Chair Malay stated,
Mark, we'll fix that.
Oh, okay.
that's all.
Does anybody remember who did make the motion so we
Oh, I
can
don't
fix
say I
it?
did, I don't care.
So where is this now?
It's, right at the beginning of the
Beginning.
minutes.
Oh, way back.
Actually, before, it's in
Oh,
the
yeah,
very,
yeah.
in the first, or second paragraph.
There, Kelly.
Yours, John.
Yep.
Because he said it.
Yeah, I seconded your motion, but I,
So we can-
Probably Dan
I made it.
would be my guess.
I don't
Probably.
think he was
He was here.
Dan was here,
Dan
yeah.
was here, Mark
Yeah.
wasn't, so.
I probably
Dan.
did.
Okay. All right, so we'll get that fixed. Anything else? All right, town manager's report.
Okay, couple things. Highway departments removed the posts and barrels at the intersection of Furnace Road and 7. It reduced it from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and this was the design that is proposed in the segment 2 plans. I think it's going okay now.
The first 24 hours were a little fraught on Facebook.
I
Oh
did,
my, people were coming unglued.
I did get a report from my, my contact on Furnace Road that when the police academy adjourned on Friday, that the traffic went through quicker than it ever
Yep,
has.
it sure
so-
did.
So, it's good to hear. We've been awarded $15,000 for the FY25 Grants and Aid Program. This is the work that the guys do for drainage and ditching on our gravel roads. Did put in your packets a rather lengthy energy audit that was done on the building here through the MERP program. So I'm trying to see what next steps are on that. They haven't announced the grant program that coincides with this, so when that comes out, you guys will have the opportunity to determine what we want to do and see what we have for funding. So it's pretty extensive,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of numbers.
You want to discuss that at all, or because it's something?
Well, we can do it now, or when we find out
then.
when
We can
funding
do it
comes
then.
in, you
That's
know, I
fine,
mean,
but
it's,
78 pages of put some insulation.
can you guys
in the
just
attic.
kind of keep it sort of close, so if we need to talk about it again, you can bring it
Yeah,
back with you?
absolutely.
Okay. I attended the VLCT Zoning and Development Review webinar on the 30th. This was a great overview that discussed best practices for writing ZBA decisions and how recent case law will affect local zoning appeals. Also attended a VLCT Grant Basics series for developing and funding project. This was a good refresher on grant writing. They're doing a series of them. Just some helpful tips from one who was a presenter that did, federal funding program specialist. So just, you know, a good refresher, and kind of picked up a couple other things for writing grants. The Bridge 108 update, the big thing is that you see in red that they will be shutting down Route 3 this weekend because there'll be some pretty major construction there. So they're actually going to shut it down at Route 4 so that trucks won't be
Okay.
trying to go up and turn around, and it makes a lot of sense. So they did confirm that today. The other thing in your packet is just this, the Tri-Town scoping study thing that we're gonna do some like joint webinar things on the 12th, so we'll do it here.
12th.
The board doesn't need to attend it, but you know, obviously everyone's more than welcome to come. So.
That was a scoping study that we funded for this
Right.
so-called trail network.
Yeah, so Stantec were the engineers that were hired. We've had a few meetings with them. They've got a different approach, which is nice to see, just a lot of engineers, it kind of is the same over and over, but I think they've got some good ideas and trying to get public outreach, so.
Will that be presented to the board, Dave, or is it just gonna be done in this?
It'll be done in this. I mean, we've still got a ways to go, so we can do more with presentation with the board too.
I mean, do you think are they gonna send you some kind of packet with a brief overview?
I can ask them to.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the same time as the Village Farm thing
Yep.
too, so.
Stephanie Burke is the project manager from Regional Plan. She was gonna drop some stuff off tomorrow.
Since we
too.
funded it, I think
Well,
we should
I
get a
know, I'd like
copy
to
of what
see,
they
yeah.
came up with, at least to look at.
Yeah, yeah, this is kind of the first public
Yeah.
hearing for it, so just to get it out there.
I know I'd like something if you would, please.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. What else? Just a couple things that have happened this week. I did do a pre-application for grant funding through Vermont Emergency Management for the Oxbow Road culvert, the one that's at the intersection of Oxbow and Ager. They're looking for projects that have undersized culverts that could be, something that cause flood events or if they're deteriorating or whatever, and that one's really old. So we got numbers on it last year because we didn't get our class 2 culvert grant, so I've applied for that. They said, send it up and we'll see what we can do, so we'll see if we get funding for that, but I figured it was
Okay.
worth a shot. Yeah, I think that's it.
Did you hear, so the last 2 VLCT webinars I tried to get on, I couldn't get on. Have you heard anything?
No.
Obviously, I need to just call them. I just didn't know if you heard that anybody else was having issues
No,
getting on
I've-
any of their things.
I've done one from here and one from home and they've
Okay.
done fine, so.
All right. I'm sure it's operator error because,
You can come here too and we can actually do them right here if you want.
Okay.
Like, that's fine.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, there's some good ones coming up. I know Ann just did one on the, I'm gonna say it, the FLSA for,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Like-
the wages and
Yeah,
things, so.
I saw that.
She was in that yesterday. So, there are a lot of them going on right now.
And then, through regional, is it the 26th of this month is the, open meeting law?
Yep,
one?
the
So I don't-
regional, Rutland Regional is doing open meeting law.
Let's get it go.
I've signed up for it.
I tried signing up for that too. See, it's operator error. I know it is because I tried signing up for that too, and because it's asked what sessions I wanted to be
I'll sign
in,
you
and
up.
it wouldn't let me I was just having a hard time.
So a lot of this stuff too, I know this is kind of off the chart here, but the state has, and Butch can correct me on this if I'm wrong, the code of ethics bill I think has been signed by the governor.
Not yet.
Not yet, so it's there and
It
this
will
is,
be in the next week or so.
and we're gonna be probably seeing quite a bit more training and some of it is gonna be mandatory. So keep you guys posted on that.
I'll comment on that later.
Okay.
Is that it? Does anyone else want to get signed up for the open meeting law training?
When is the date on that?
I think the 26th. And I think there's an in-person and Zoom
Yep.
option,
Yeah,
correct?
they do that for all of them, so. One other thing I'm having Ann do, which we should have ready for all of you at the next meeting, is we're putting all the ordinances and policies together in a binder for board members, and we're gonna give one to the town clerk's office too. Just so if someone asks you guys something during, between meetings, you're like, well, let me look it up.
Right.
And, I think
Yeah,
it'll
that's a good
save,
idea.
I think it'll save a lot of hassle, and then you guys are aware of it too, and,
Yeah.
we'll try to add to it, but we just figured we've got time to do it, let's just,
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
so, and then if you see policies that are outdated, then we'll know we can work on them, and,
Right.
there are some that are, so, it's a good opportunity for you guys to get familiar with them, and then we'll work on them.
Okay. Any questions for Dave? All right, any select board member remarks?
I just wanna thank town crew for finally putting up that sign on the corner on Truck Route, telling people that they don't have the right of way to shoot across.
Yeah,
Nice, I didn't see that.
hopefully it works.
Well, at least if somebody hits somebody there, now there's
Right.
somebody at fault.
Yeah. I will let them know, Dave.
Is that at Kendall Hill in West Creek?
Yes.
My only thing though with that, because I live over there, is if I'm correct, the sign says yield for turns. And I think some people get confused with that, because like the other day I had a truck just about stop. And he was continuing to go up Kendall Hill and he didn't have to necessarily. And then I was coming up Kendall Hill, approaching the intersection, I think like 2 nights ago, and somebody just shot straight across.
Oh, that's what they do.
Right. It's like, if anything, I think it needs to be yield to go across. Don't worry if you're making a right, because you're hopefully
Well, it
not gonna
says-
hit anybody, you know, but it seems like the yield is for the turn.
No, it's
It
clear
should be
on the
for-
sign that it's for
So it says yield
going
left.
left, says yield left. Of course, you gotta know your left from your right, but still.
Right,
It's-
exactly.
No, but yeah, cause it's just a matter of time before somebody gets whacked there, cause I've had so many close calls.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
they just think it's a straight road and it's not.
Yeah.
Could always put a stop sign there if we
We
had
talked
to.
about that before,
Oh,
I
Millie,
was gonna
before.
say that might be the next step, would just to be to stop there.
Fit if you
Oh,
stop
I'm
all
sure
those
they
tractor
would.
trailers going out.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Oh, well.
Well, that'd be the next step, if that
Yeah.
wouldn't work.
Well, safety concern.
It
We'll
is
see what
safety.
happens. I
Yeah.
don't think we've had any accidents there.
No, you've had a lot of close ones
Well,
though.
Yeah.
A lot of close ones.
I don't ever remember one right there, do you, Butch?
Other than Dave Tremley going off the road.
That's,
over
that's
the
the only.
Oh, no.
Well, that was a snowstorm. That was a snowstorm going off backwards down over the bank, no. That's the only one I remember.
Okay, public comment.
Oh, I have one thing.
Oh,
I
I'm
forgot.
sorry.
Yeah. Could we please get our packets on Friday, or at least have them available for our pickup on Friday?
Can we email them to you on Friday? So, one thing we're trying to do, Mark, is not have multiple warrants show up after we issue the packets. So, you know, there was like 3 or 4 more at the time, so we could actually put a number on the warning of what the amount to be paid for bills is. Because we have this 5-day span that, you know, all the stuff comes in after.
And I thought we were just gonna have a cutoff, you said, and it was gonna
So-
be done. And then we'd have that on the next, it's only a 2-week spread, so.
Yeah.
Could we have the packet and just not have the agenda until? I mean, if that's what we're trying to aim for, is have an accurate agenda with the number not
We're just
having
trying
to
to
be
get
added
one
to.
warrant instead of
Yeah.
things showing up after the meeting's been posted. That was more of the big concern.
Okay.
I know we discussed this before, and I
Yeah.
thought we had agreed to do it on Friday, just,
Yeah, cause I mean, I have time on the weekend to read it. Once it doesn't come till Monday, doesn't give a lot of time to sit down and read it. That's my
I emailed, I
issue.
thought I missed something over the weekend.
We can
so-
go back to what it is and I want to make sure that things are getting paid timely, and if we miss that, so we might just have to continue doing that warrant between Friday and Wednesday.
now, when we had a discussion the other day, you said we were probably just gonna have a cutoff, that's what I thought
So
you
it's
told me.
caused some problems.
Oh,
But Pat and Ann and I'll talk again and see what we can do.
all right, well.
Yeah, I was just trying to get
It's,
it all.
it's preferred if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, but I think, yeah, Friday just gives a little more time to
Okay.
read it.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Make that happen.
Okay. Was there any other select board comments?
Well, I guess I'll ask questions, seeing as how I made the stink when the auditor was here. Did you sort out what the problems were with our audit?
Yes. Mark and I had a conversation about it. Now I've got to remember so a lot of the stuff that was missing checks and things that weren't on the warrant, it was all payroll related. And if you remember, probably a year or so ago, we started putting all the payroll stuff on the warrant. It just wasn't there before.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay.
And there was one other thing.
Yeah, there was something being paid on one invoice every time. That was a comment you told
So
me.
there was a check number that
For
was coming
insurance,
up
maybe?
for the same thing. It was one of those deductions in payroll that was showing as the same check number.
But they were
so-
assigned to the same invoice every time. So that's why the invoice wasn't there, is that what you
I
told me?
think it was assigned the same check number every time. So Pat and I sat down and went through all of it. We went through the letter. It's all fixed now. A lot of the stuff that Miranda had talked about, like the guys coding invoices, we started doing that like a year ago, and that was just so they could see where they were with their budget between meetings and, things. What was the other things? With the reconciliation of, I believe, stuff with the trustees. Wasn't that one that came up that?
I didn't tell me that one.
So Miranda's actually coming on the 20th to work with Helen and Pat on that to show how that reconciliation. And then the other thing was depreciation in water and sewer. So we want to make sure that we're doing that, having the right number every year for depreciation because they're enterprise funds. So I think that was it.
So to clarify, from what you told me, there is nothing missing or unaccounted for. It was just a matter of the bookkeeping not being complete. Is that correct?
Certain things weren't showing up on the warrant that should have been, and it was all payroll related. So, there's all the documentation to back it up. But that's been fixed. That was fixed almost a year.
Recording in progress.
So we're to zero.
We're good. We're good.
That's all.
And hopefully next meeting we'll have budget update for the year end stuff and see if we can do I think we're looking good for the end of the year, so we're gonna need a little help on the sewer project anyway, so
Yeah.
we might see if we can encumber some funds for after July 1 to go towards the sewer project. But I think the next meeting would be, we'll be close to the end of the month then, so. Did that answer your question, Dave?
It did,
Okay.
yep. No, people need to know.
Yeah, no, we're in good shape, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rumors around that we're
Yeah.
totally.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the way it was written,
No,
it
yeah.
was
I know.
Questionable.
well, I think because it said something like cash receipts or something, we don't even have petty cash in here,
Don't
so.
have it, petty cash.
That was, I think it was just, if you read because I had to read it a couple times too, I'm like, well, this doesn't really talk about cash. And I
Right.
read it again, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I get it, so, yeah, we're in good shape with that. But I am pushing them too, go to trainings, there's a lot of stuff changing with reporting and other stuff and just, go to these trainings. Most of them are free, most of them are through the league. Take advantage of them, so.
It's like 15
Taking
people just went down
someone
those
to
stairs. Okay, public comment.
Something I noticed the other day, which I know there's not much I think that can be done now, but the paving that was done north of Kendall, wasn't part of that supposed to be to eliminate the flooding by the red farm there?
I don't know if that was specifically,
I thought I remembered that flooding on 7 was part of the repaving and whatnot that they did over there was to mitigate it. And
Okay.
the other night when it was raining, we went hydroplaning right past the red farm.
nope.
I thought that was supposed to be fixed.
That's scheduled to go out to bid, so that was just mill and pave, Joe, to take the curse out of it, basically. And I believe the project, that segment's going out to bid this fall.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
that's-
they haven't
that's the
gotten to
reason.
that yet?
No.
Okay.
No, this in 22A, they're just trying to kind of take the curse off before they redo everything, so, just a big Band-Aid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many $1 million Band-Aid? It was
I know.
$1.8 million Band-Aid, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that needed it, though.
It did.
Yeah.
It was not gonna be drivable till the end of the.
No, it was not.
well, to the time, right?
Any other public comment?
I do, thank you. First of all, the governor and you all will probably get, or at least you will get an invitation to the legislative breakfast for Cedar. We'll be here on the 24th at Southside. And the governor will be there at 7:30 to 9. And I know some folks here usually attend that breakfast, and it's usually, especially instead of hearing legislators dribble their speech, you'll be able to hear from the boss, or
Nice.
the current boss of the state. So that's just a kind of a heads up on that. And Lyle's sending out an email to everybody tomorrow morning. Secondly, you talked about Dave, you talked about the ethics bill. There's a sweeping statewide and statewide that encompasses all state government and all towns in the state that's coming to a movie theater near you soon. I'm not sure why the governor hasn't signed it. He may still be negotiating. He may veto it. There's two pieces to the bill. There's a statewide piece for statewide candidates and local candidates that they have to adhere to a code of ethics, which we already do, but it's more restrictive than the existing statute asked us to do. The town piece was vehemently opposed by the League of Cities and Towns, and opposed by, obviously, by me, because it sweeps in every single public official that works for the town of Pittsford, free or not. So and I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, of course, everybody, you all are subject to this. The V.S.A. subject to it, the ZBA subject to it, the zoning administrator subject to it. Everybody in this office is subject to this code of ethics. It's in black and white, and it's very specific what you can and cannot do. I won't go into that tonight. Once the bill passes, I'm sure the legal will take a look at it and inform Dave and you all what you have to do in the bill. But it requires mandatory training from every one of you. It can be done here, it can be done remotely, or somebody, we're not sure if the league's gonna come down and train you, but we do have a state ethics officer. The neat part is they wanted to fund 2 more positions, and the funding got taken away. So, thankfully. But that bill is going to be here in some form, and I'm telling you, it's real. Because if you don't, there's some pretty severe penalties if you don't follow this bill.
I think one of the things in the bill, sorry Butch, one of the things in the bill too was that they wanted that there had to be someone in town that's like a trainer too,
Yeah.
so.
So it's almost a train-the-trainer.
Right, so there'd be an in-house like person to
And
do.
you have to have a person that's in charge of this and do all the reporting that's going to be required in the bills.
It's more bullshit.
Huge amount. What a waste of money.
Are the Democrats gonna follow it?
No, those are for the rest of us. It's for the rest of us.
I'm not bullying you.
Oh, I'm
You have
sure,
to follow
but-
this law. Because if you don't, you could maybe not get a grant or those type of things. And it goes all the way down to people that are on volunteer boards. I know in Brandon, they had a volunteer committee that was to help with the budget. And I
Yeah, I
don't think,
remember
did you
that.
have that here?
No.
Okay, before those people can serve on the committee, they are subject to the training.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
It's wide sweeping. It involves sexual harassment, and it involves all those types of things that go along with that whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty serious bill. It was a very late bill. It popped up really, really late. There was very little committee discussion. There's a robust debate on the House floor, and there was another robust debate on the Senate floor, but the bill did pass. And I would urge you all, when you see this bill, to read it. I have read it several times, debated it on the floor, and didn't get very far.
What bill is it, Butch?
I can't remember the number right now. I was just trying to look it up there, and if the governor hasn't signed it, I was scrolling down through the stuff he signed.
666.
I could pop out, and he didn't sign anything yesterday, so I didn't get an email that he signed something yesterday. But I'll get that number to Dave, so you guys can start.
I'm trying to think, because you sent it to me, but
It's in the 800 something.
yeah, it was like 871 or
Yeah, it's in
something.
the
I can't
800s.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at a bunch of them. I might have it, actually I have the one you sent me, so I can send that to you.
Make sure, yeah, I want to make sure that's the final.
I can send it to all you if you
Amendments
want.
to it later on.
So out of curiosity, if I volunteer to teach archery over at the rec center, I would have to go through
And
this
if you're,
training,
if you're considered a,
volunteer for the town.
for the town, you would have to.
You'd have to do it.
So firefighters need to take it.
Potentially, they could. Yep,
Anything that falls under the town umbrella.
yep,
It's crazy.
yep.
It's nuts.
So another thing that Helen and I, we've been talking about too, like when the new JPs and everything come on, like trying to get some packets together too of like some of the policies that they follow them and like the open meeting law guide. Like when Dan came on, I gave him some of that stuff, like the select board policy and
Yeah.
open meeting law and some of the other stuff, just so he had it, but, I mean, it's just gonna be standard.
But who pushed that bill through?
Oh, that came from House Government Operations. Chair is Mike McCarthy from St. Albans, obviously. And they brought it out really late because it's an 800 bill, so it's late in the session. And it hit the floor, and it was, we had about a day to look at it and really understand what it said. So the league was, like I say, the league was against it. Ted Brady did a great job for the league in opposing it, but it just didn't, it fell on deaf ears. It's, Pittsford has an ethics commission. You won't need that anymore because the state will do that for you.
We don't want the state doing it for us.
No.
We don't want the state doing anything.
Yeah, well, I get that, Mark. But towns like yours that have adopted kind of a policy that the league offered to draft a town that would draft a policy that would fit towns, and they turned them down. They turned down the amendment that they put out, so.
It's H875.
875. Thank you.
Yeah.
It'll put you to sleep, first part. The second
58
part.
pages, it's 58 pages long.
Is it?
58 pages long.
How many pages?
58.
58 pages.
Yeah.
And they give you that a day to go, they only give you a day to go through that?
Oh, we got 3. Well, they came in, first reading, went right to committee, second reading, when we modified it, came out one day, and then the next day we voted on that third reading. Yeah. So we had it a day to really take a look at it.
Right.
Yeah, so. Well, hell, the budget was 900 pages, we had that a day.
Jeez.
Well, we knew what was in it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's coming to a third review. I would suggest that when you see it, you try to understand it, and we can talk about it after you take a look at it. We'd be more than happy to do that and see where you fit. I would have thought that it would have been a better idea to have the league do it and represent you guys.
Yeah, no kidding.
All at once, but that didn't happen, and I apologize for that. And then thirdly, I am going to be your representative until the first Wednesday after the first Tuesday in January, and then I'll be done. After 15 years, I still love going to the State House. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get involved, be involved in debates and all that other cool stuff. And I've always said, when I walk up the State House and I don't have a tingle going down the back of my spine, and say to myself before I walk in the door, man, I can't believe they let people like me make laws, and it'd be time to get done. But I haven't reached that point yet. But what I have reached is 15 years representing this community and others, and and if I ran again and won, I'd be close to 80. And I don't want to be like my 2 Senate colleagues that passed away last week. I don't want to pass away when I'm in Montpelier. I can think of a better spot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's January
But
8th, Butch?
Pardon?
January 8th,
Is it January 8th? Yes, I think.
the first Wednesday after the first
First
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah. So.
You're not running again?
No, and with that, though, I do have some good news. I have been talking with Alicia Millay for over a year and a half, trying to determine, I'll use that as a polite word, if she would like to run for representative for the Rowanee district. And she has ceded to my wish. And she has filed, and she's on the ballot in the primary in August. And I think Alicia her and I've had a lot of long conversations, and she has many of the same values that I have. And we agree on more than we disagree about. And I think she would be able to represent this community very, very, very well. And so I appreciate her stepping up. So that's This is my public comment, but just remember, I'm still on the job for the first week in January. And we'll be going, we'll see what happens. But thank you guys.
Thank you,
for-
Butch.
Yeah, thank you, Butch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I say something out of that? Butch, it's been a pleasure working with you with two towns, you know. It was really pivotal with some of the large projects that I was involved with, and, you know, we worked really well through COVID together and to get things done, and, yeah, you'll be missed, but I'll just be bugging Alicia every Monday. But thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the end of my comments. That's
Okay.
all. I've got no more than that.
All right. Well, thank you very
Good,
much.
thank you.
Okay, we have no old business, and, okay, of new business, health order fines discussion. Where are we at with that?
Last time we talked, you guys were gonna come up with, because you thought there was some fines already.
Right, and it turns out that we don't have specific numbers in our ordinance,
Nothing.
unfortunately. So,
Rich has some ideas.
okay,
Honestly, I would probably say 50, 150, and 300. However, I'm not, to fine them every day is kinda ridiculous. I'll fine them once, have them apply, because it's just a pretty much civil ticket. Have them, they have 20 days to reply for it. If I find out they paid for it, paid the ticket, I will issue them another one at 150. If they deny it, I'll have to go to court for it.
how many days did you say
They have 20 days.
20?
To,
to comply with the first, and then it'll go to the, okay. I mean, that seems,
Is that standard
seems,
or did you just?
It's all over the place.
yeah,
Yes.
it's just like the animal control stuff. It's, I think what, his first one's 25. It's,
Rich, can you say the numbers again?
50, 150, 300.
that seems reasonable to me.
I mean, we were talking earlier, like, you know, still, we would rather see people get into
Well,
compliance.
right, I
and
mean,
hopefully
that's the
this is
thing.
Yeah.
A persuasive tool to, you know,
I can tell you the one over on Fire Hill is not compliant. I went by today, again, just to look, and it's not even mowed or anything else.
The first one?
Yep.
That's gonna be.
you know.
Okay.
So, we'll have to pull the ordinance, and I guess we can just try to make something, a paragraph or something in there with that, and
Yeah.
then bring it to the board for
Right.
approval.
Amend it?
Amend it.
Yeah.
The
And so
ordinance?
we're,
We'll
so
have to have
they
a public
have
hearing, don't we?
more, is it more that they still have
We have
more
to
than
have a
3
public hearing?
unregistered vehicles? Like, where are they, how are they still not in compliance?
They
Like,
haven't moved any trash or anything.
oh, there's still trash there as
Yeah,
well?
and
I thought they
believe
got
they
that out.
Put it behind the trailer,
Okay.
just to get it out of view. So,
Is it ordinance or policy, Tom? Do you remember? Policy, we don't have to do hearings, ordinance we do.
That's an ordinance, I believe. I think we have to have a hearing.
Junk ordinance.
It wouldn't
Yeah, it
be
is an
junk.
ordinance.
This would be health. Let me
Oh,
find
We'll
out.
have to find out for sure, but I think we have to have a hearing.
okay.
I would think so.
It'd be best to have one just to cover our tail anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we're
Yeah.
gonna redo it.
I know.
Maybe
Does
it's
that have to
time,
be-
maybe we ought to look at that
So
whole,
we,
Does that have to be a standalone, or is that something we can tag in one meeting?
We could do
that
a,
should
we
be
could do a
be
part of a meeting, as long as
yeah.
it's warned properly, it's fine.
Yep.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
probably should.
yeah, I know. We want to make sure we do this the proper way.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to look at that whole ordinance, so make sure it's.
Well,
The other
yeah.
ones were done at a regular meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just posted in the agenda.
right,
Because
posted.
we looked it up, and it's up to, what, $10,000 fine or something?
Mm-hmm.
So.
They can be hefty fines,
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Let's get it on for the next one.
Yeah, but you
Okay.
don't get blood out of a stone either.
Well,
Well, no, but
Action, that's all we
but
want.
eventually we'd go, is that something where, no, that's not. I'm just thinking out loud and
Yeah.
ignore
So,
me.
Rich, so the $50 is for the 20 days.
yep, and
It
then.
goes to 150.
Then it goes to 150 for another 20 days?
Yep. And then
But
300.
it's not 150 per day or 50 per day?
If, you can set it up 50 per day, but how many people are going to,
I know, that's not,
Pay it.
that's
Well,
not
no,
realistic.
I am, but I was just wondering.
because I know there's places that it says we you get charged $50 per day or get ticket $50 per day, and then, or whatever. I'm looking at it this way is, a lot of the people that we're dealing with don't have that much money to pay. I'd rather have the money go into cleaning the place up than.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
But they do need to be held accountable.
Yep.
You're correct.
Well, and one thing too, like we were talking earlier, we're gonna look and see if that ticket issued actually will affect your driver's license too, because like, I think.
Oh,
Because it's just like a driver, it's actually
Yeah.
the same thing that
saw
we do.
that.
So, that's a pretty good,
Incentive.
bartering tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
You know.
Good point. Some of those people would drive with that one.
Well, I mean, we can only do so much, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If, find it. Okay.
The other thing I need to bring up, I am going to put a health order in for Simpson Lane.
Oh, okay.
So that'll probably be on the next select board meeting too.
Okay.
I'm also working with the fish and warden Sierra.
This is the East Pittsford
Yep.
incident. Yep.
Unfortunately, we're going to attack both, so if she's going to fine them because of the getting in with the bears getting in the garbage and not clean up. We've given ample amount of time to pick up the trash,
Right.
and it just seems like it's getting worse and worse and worse. So, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on
Recording
that.
is
That's coming.
progress.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yep, so.
Speaking of bears, lost it. There was a bear's butt on there.
I think it went off.
Bears.
again.
Bear's butt on there, yeah.
What's going on in this place?
Bear cam?
Warden Sierra, she's actually going to do the same thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna give them 30 days to clean it up.
Yep.
As what I read the other the other two, is you got 30 days to clean this up. We need something. If not, she's gonna start finding them the state stuff. And then whatever we decide on our end of how the fines or whatever is gonna go, I can start finding them that way too, so.
Okay. All right. All right, well, thank you very much. So, do we need to vote on the numbers? Define, do we have
We
to?
need to do the amendment first and bring it, and then.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we're talking about, have to come to.
All right, yeah,
Can't just automatically put it in there.
right, okay.
Without.
All right, so, okay, that'll be our next step then. Okay, thank you. Excavator discussion.
So, in your packets, this is just for informational, for people to look at. Chad and I have been trying to do our due diligence to bring some numbers to, just getting some quotes from a couple of the local, shops that sell excavators, and, so we just have the spec sheets and some of the warranty information in here, and, for you guys to review. We could certainly keep it open for discussion for the next meeting or whatever, but just wanted to get the information in front of you. Any questions?
Well, I think we need to have a discussion whether we need an excavator or not. I think that's
the first discussion.
That's the first discussion, but I also think, you know, we need to see numbers on a new backhoe too, so we can make some determinations. Because again, I don't see an excavator being what this town needs. It's one thing if we had miles and miles and miles of ditches to build, that would be one thing, but as far as maintenance, the hassle, you gotta have a trailer, you gotta truck it there, then you gotta park the trailer somewhere, then you gotta bring the trailer back. It's just, it makes no sense to me. We don't have that many ditches. We haven't had to rent an excavator that much. I mean, if we were spending $50,000 a year on excavator rental, then yes, but what were we spending, $6,000 a year maybe?
Probably.
So, you know, that's my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for the board, but that's my idea. I mean, again, maybe somebody can prove to me how it makes sense, but I also want to see on a backhoe, because I know we've had issues with the backhoe we've got. It never was a prime piece of real estate anyway. And, you know, let's at least have some numbers on that, so when we have a discussion, we can compare, you know, apples and oranges and see which we prefer to eat.
So one of the big reasons that we considered looking at backhoes or excavators was because of a lot of the ditch work we do. And we had an issue, well, not even the ditch work, we had an issue twice this year with water line breaks where we couldn't reach it, the bucket wouldn't reach the line. Had one up by Tom's house, one down there, we were really stretching in front of JR's. But with all of like the grants and aid work that we're doing, it's so much quicker to do it. It's more efficient to have an excavator to do the ditch work, and
Still rent one though.
that's really
Still rent one.
what we're looking at. So,
Well, how old is our backhoe? That's not that
14?
old.
Is that correct?
I don't remember, I'd have to look, Tom.
God, that seems like it's that old.
Yeah, I don't remember
Maybe.
how old it is, but I know it's
I've got it
had
in my
the
mind.
steel in it, and
Yeah.
nobody could ever explain how it got in there.
You know, I do think when we go around next time, whether it's a backhoe or an excavator or what, I really think we've got to look at some of the top of the line equipment and not just go for the cheapest thing out
Yeah,
there.
that's
Because I think
sometimes-
that's the trouble we got into with this backhoe. Wouldn't you agree, Dave?
I would agree that
It's an off-brand, right?
well, and the problem, one of the big problems is the closest service for that company is Albany, New York now.
That's crazy.
And that just takes time, you know, that ruins a whole day for two guys.
Right.
2 days, because you
2
gotta
days,
bring
yeah.
it, and then, you know, and we'd have to trailer it, so we'd have to get a trailer.
Or Concord, New Hampshire, those are your two.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's been a big problem, but I agree with Mark that, low bid or low number is not sometimes the best solution, and
Whatever we do end up, and I think that's a wise decision or suggestion on Dave's part. We should probably get an idea of what we're looking at for a new backhoe so we can weigh this out. Because I think it is a big purchase, we want to make sure we do it correct. And I do think having time to weigh it out until we get through what our taxes are actually going to end up for everybody, because it's a big unknown right now. And I'm also, honestly, I'm a little concerned about the overage on our water project. I want to make sure we're covered for that.
sewer project.
Sewer project, yeah.
I think we're
So-
gonna be okay with it, but,
If you know what, there's a couple variables right now that I think are very important financially for us to keep an eye on.
so there is money in the the highway capital fund for equipment replacement of, I think, $238,000 is in there right now. So that, you know, that's put aside every year
I do
for these
understand that, yeah.
purchases. So the money's there, and it wouldn't affect taxes or even budget at that point.
It's still money we're spending during a time where we have some unknowns. That's my
Unknowns.
concern.
And all we
Gotta
need
put
is, we've
cushion.
got one dump truck that we
Yeah.
put, what, 40 grand into or whatever, I don't remember the exact number, so don't quote me.
Yep.
And we decided to keep it and trade a newer truck. All we need to do is have that
That'll
thing go
go
down, and that pot of money, most of it's gone. So just, my opinion is, just because we've got it, doesn't mean we need to
Well,
spend
and
it.
that's not what I was looking at, Dave. It was more of the use of what we could do with it.
But there's no
efficient.
question excavators are faster. Your point is taken, though. You have to haul it on a trailer, have to get it there, but it is faster, it is quicker on the job. And I think safety and getting things done in a speedy fashion are important, but I think we have to weigh it out on the cost. And I think looking at what a replacement is for a hoe, maybe there's something to look at. But I think we need to review all the options before we dive in. And I'd also like to get through this, knowing what everyone's gonna face before. Because I think there's a lot of people in town that are really concerned about where that's going.
What?
Just
Well, our
taxes.
taxes.
Right.
We have to look at the,
Well, on a positive note, Lisa did say that our grand list is up,
Yeah, a few million, right?
was it $8 million?
yeah, Really?
Wow.
I know, that's what I said.
Shazam,
So-
where'd that come from?
Well, you
know,
got some
we're
pretty
in the
expensive
money.
houses up there above you.
Oh, yeah. you're right.
Municipal rate
Backside of the woods there?
could look better,
Right.
you know.
Well, and those are important things to all take into fact, but I agree with your thought that we should probably at least take a look at that as well and weigh out the options at the same time.
Yeah, we might be
I mean-
looking at a new backhoe and maybe a used excavator.
Well, that's how
was
I
my
kind of
original-
started this, was a used one.
That was my original
yeah.
thought. A
That
little
wasn't the used one.
Well, no, but there's
No,
probably
but-
some good used ones out there.
I'm sure there
There's-
is.
must be.
Yeah.
And
plenty
my,
of used ones out
and
there.
honestly, my suggestion came from a used Mini to do some of these little jobs. I thought that might be, $40,000
Well,
investment.
and we
so.
certainly could continue to look for that, and I agree that we could still do a lot of that work with a smaller excavator. That's,
And I think we need
No
to,
doubt.
we just need to review these options. I think we gotta
Yeah.
make sure the decision we make is a good one
well,
for the next 15 years.
I'll just keep throwing stuff at you guys.
I
and-
love it, yeah.
And, I mean, like guys, Chad and I were talking, like, they make this stuff every day. There's
Yeah,
no
they do.
urgency on
Right.
it.
Nope.
No.
And,
Right.
Sometimes we jump into stuff too quick too, and
Yeah.
then we say, geez, maybe we should have looked at this a little
Well,
different.
and so
I
it's
think
good we have
from-
stuff to
and
look
I-
at.
Dave and I talked about this earlier. From my perspective, I opened this packet and it's like, I had some choice words. It's like, I thought we were gonna discuss this first. And from my perspective, what I was used to, and I explained it to Dave, was Chad would come in, he'd say, hey guys, you know, I'm thinking about getting a new truck, or I'm thinking about getting a new this. Can I look for it? And then we would discuss, and 99% of the time we said, Chad, yes,
Yes.
go ahead and do it. When he was trying to get rid of that little John Deere and get something with def on it, we were opposed to that. And that's the only time I think we've been opposed to him, other than maybe the bucket truck thing, getting something. So, you know, most of the time
We
he
did get him a
is-
chipper though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that thing gets used a lot.
So that's, from my perspective, that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So when all of a sudden I see this in here, it's like you're forcing me to do something that I didn't really agree that or the board didn't agree that we should even be looking at.
So my rebuttal to Dave earlier was that I feel like we need to be at least showing that we've done some due diligence and actually putting a foot forward to start looking at these things and weighing out our options and bringing stuff. I don't like, I'm horrible at procrastination. And that's one of those things where, like, you know, we can make the calls like in a day and, you know, we'll have stuff. Like, I'd rather have something to give to you guys to actually look at, review, and, you know, at least start the conversation with something in hand, I guess, so.
Oh, different perspectives.
Clearly.
Well, I think, you know, looking wisely how we use our labor hours in the process is part
Oh,
of
that's
it.
part of it.
Yeah.
The safety of our employees who work on the side of the road is important. And I think buying something for the long term, that's gonna be here for a long term, is
Yeah.
critical.
Yep.
Not just going with a low price or something.
Right.
And that's a, you know, and that's why I think it's good to weigh these out.
Yeah.
And it's tough
Yeah.
too, even new versus used, like, you don't know, you know? I mean, you can buy a piece of used equipment, it'll last forever, and you buy a new one, and it's in the shop for every month for
Other day.
like.
Oh, yeah, no,
like
it's a
truck
crapshoot.
that- A
Yep.
truck
Sure
that we
is.
all know.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, you just never know, and it's, but,
Use things with engines and hydraulics are always
you
questionable.
know, but fortunately too, we have a great department that knows how to fix a lot of this stuff. So that's, you know, that saves us a lot of money right off the top. But, yeah, so, anyway,
Okay,
just for thought.
just for
So I
thought.
want you to ask for permission and you want to beg for forgiveness. So we clarify.
It's not really forgiveness, I didn't go buy the thing. It's coming tomorrow, but we haven't
That's a little over his limit.
Yeah.
We're making monthly payments of
Yeah.
$4,999.
Dollars,
I'm not gonna be here that long.
Joe?
A possible alternative, I know over in New York, all ditch work that they do is with a grade all,
Oh, yeah.
Great
which
all.
is a truck with a
Tires.
bucket on it. It's got about a 40-foot reach, and they bang out ditches, because it's got like a 4 or 5 foot bucket on there.
It comes
Grading
with an extra
bucket.
100 gallons of hydraulic fuel too.
Does it?
Oh,
Oh,
they
yeah,
are,
they're huge.
they're notorious.
Probably need a
Carter
permit
used to
from
have
Act
one.
250 to run one.
I mean, a wheeled excavator would be perfect, but.
Well, that's basically what a great all
What a
is.
great all really
Yeah,
is.
because then you could drive it there. I'd have a lot
Right.
less objections to that.
And you
for what
can
we're
use
doing.
it for pipe work if you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can go put a Town of Pittsford logo on Markowski's and see if they notice.
Yeah.
You, depending on where it's parked, we could get maybe a year out of it. Who knows?
They'd call me
Well,
first.
as long as we put it back once in a while.
They'd call me first, trust me.
Yeah,
Anyway,
All right, are we done with excavator discussions?
Sounds it.
Okay,
for today.
all right. For now,
Dave?
any questions on orders?
No.
No, okay.
Joe would be mad at us for not questioning one.
No.
I know, but
I know.
I couldn't find anything to
I know,
question.
a lot of it's payroll. It's
Couldn't
like
find
90% of it, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of payroll.
Not much in there.
Tasers are
So
expensive.
let's see. I wanna make sure we fix those minutes too, though.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
I don't think we can sign because
Yeah.
I think it's on that page.
Oh my goodness, it's sticking. There we go. Oh, here, let me
No,
start.
it's not on that page, so we can sign it.
Well, but we wanna fix it.
Yeah, but it's on,
Oh, right, I see what you're saying. Let me just circle it. And I wonder why I mucked it all up, and then, so she'll fix it.
Gotta get some.
You gotta bring some oil with it, Tom. I don't know if
chair,
that's your
drives me
back or your
nuts.
chair, but something needs oiling.
It's a same
Squeaky
chair.
chair gets
Payroll. That's the warrant. And there's the minutes.
Every time I move, it squeaks.
We gotta buy that excavator, so we can't afford a new chair.
That's right. Oh, you stop throwing stuff? Almost had me do it upside down, didn't you?
No, that's the other thing. It's right here somewhere. I buried it. There it is.
Okay, so it doesn't move.
Is that it?
It's on the toolbox, Tom. Fix the chair for you.
Yeah,
What?
I got it.
for them to sign.
I locked it, so maybe. it's
They don't
not
sign
gonna
them
squeak so much.
There you go.
It's all electronic now.
All right, so we'll come out of select board and open as liquor board. And we do have just the one from Hilltop Tavern,
Yeah, this is a special event at,
the Village
the
Farm.
Village Farm. We got the application in, and Aaron actually called from Hilltop and asked if we could, yeah, we'll throw it in. So one thing to consider too with some of these special event ones, if we have a time where, there's not a board meeting, if there, you know, cause some of them come in a week before or whatever.
Yep.
You can, make a motion that the town clerk can actually sign off on the special event permits.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if you want to, like, I think if there's not,
Never
Yeah.
refused one
if
yet.
there's
know.
not a time where the board can't do it, then Helen could do it. Does that, and then we'd bring it to you guys after, but are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it. I don't remember, she says we did once, but.
We have had an
It was a long
issue.
time ago.
Must've been a long time ago.
Yeah, you,
I mean, they all go now, it's all electronic, so it like comes to Helen and then she has to send it back
Be
to the
something you would
state.
see before she, that's something you would see before it went to.
Oh, yeah, we'd still talk about it, yeah.
I'd be willing to do that at your discretion if you thought there was gonna be a problem that you
Yeah.
hold it up.
Yeah.
that fair?
That's.
Do you guys wanna make a motion on that, and, you know, if we have to do it for time constraints or something?
I will make a motion that if a liquor application comes in and the time frame does not fit, being able to get to a select board meeting in time
For a special event.
for a special event, that the town manager, as long as he views it, uses his discretion, as long as it's brought to the board after.
Okay, can you do town manager and town clerk?
Town manager and town clerk.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. Okay.
Now, you have to do the permit separate because that was a separate motion.
Oh, you're right.
I move to
Thank you.
approve the permit.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay. Well, so we'll come, out of liquor board, back into select board meeting, and if there's nothing else,
Alicia, I have
yes.
some news off the press.
Oh, okay.
The governor signed H 546, it's a miscellaneous tax bill the legislature does every year. Mostly it just adjusts the way taxes are collected. But in that, with the local options tax, should you ever consider that again, that vote no longer has to go to the legislature for a charter change.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Municipalities can vote on it, subject to various conditions.
Yep.
And the commissioner taxes could limit it to 5 such votes, or 5 such municipalities per year. It just says may, doesn't say shall, so nobody knows what the impact of that's going to be.
Okay.
So the legislature is now, because we're a Dillon state, you would have to come and have your charter changed to charge that tax. Now you don't have to, and it clearly spells out in the language what you can apply for. Sales tax, rooms and meals, and alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
And back up just a little bit. Had a chance to read the 58-page bill while you were talking about the excavator. The State Ethics Commission is going to set up your guidelines for you to set up your own ethics here. It'll have to go back and be approved and all that other stuff. And it doesn't go quite as deep in as Dave and Joe had said, but anybody that has any authority within, which is all of you, and has to have this training. So it's a pretty wide sweeping. If you're bored at night, just go ahead and read that bill.
Okay.
And sleep after, though.
Yeah. You won't be bored. It's exciting at the end.
So what do we gotta do to become a home rule state?
Well, that's going to have to go like a constitutional change. Yeah. We're making constitutional changes in Vermont. It could happen anytime.
Yeah.
Make way too many.
Well, we were a home rule town until,
We've all spent the Dillon state.
Always been Dillon.
All spent the Dillon state.
but I thought the town of Pittsford was until they combined the village and the town into one.
No, you were
There was something to do that with.
No, that was part of a charter. Yeah.
Because when we were on the planning commission, that got brought up.
Yeah, no, it's part of the charter. Village had a charter, the town had a charter.
Right.
You combined the two
Combined
into
it.
Oh.
one charter. And that went to the legislature.
Right, but I thought that was when we went from home to Dillon here
No,
in the
they're all
town.
still,
no?
state's always been Dillon.
State's always been
Right
Dillon.
from day one. Yeah. And that's, well, maybe day 2. But then Dillon just refers to the judge that made the decision.
Well, no, I know.
That
Yeah.
everything has to go through the legislature. Yeah. And there's some talk about doing away with that.
Really?
A lot of the big towns that are pushing for young voters and those type of things really want that Dillon state rule to go away, so they can do it themselves. Example.
11-year-olds?
Yeah, Brattleboro allows
And
16-year-olds to serve on the select board.
Oh my God.
What's Brattleboro want to do?
16.
They allow 16-year-olds to
16-year-olds?
sit on the select board.
Their frontal cortex ain't there yet. Believe me, I work with them all the time. I wouldn't want them making the decisions.
They're allowed.
I thought at 16 you can't sign a contract, so how can they?
You'll have to talk to the town of Brattleboro on that.
I know, that was brought up though, I
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah. you'll have
It's
to
been
talk to
brought
the
up
town of
before
Brattleboro.
and.
That's the last thing I would have thought of doing at 16.
Yeah, Jesus.
They can sit on.
Oh,
the
yeah,
select board.
no, yeah.
Didn't Otter Valley, before they went all this UU, Didn't they have some students on the school board?
It was part of
They
the
did.
student
They
council
did.
or something.
I don't think they had they weren't voting members though,
They were there
They were
to
there.
make comment,
which that I agree with 100%. Like, I would love to get teenagers to come and come to our select board meetings. I don't know if I would want them to be voting on things per se.
Montpelier, Winooski, trying to think the other town allow non-citizens to vote in
That's
local elections.
ridiculous.
As long as it doesn't have anything to do with state money. they can vote.
But that goes against the US Constitution, so
Well, selling pot does too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually where,
It's a federal, it's still
It's a
federal.
federal offense.
it's a federal law, but it's not the Constitution.
Right.
It's not in the Constitution.
No, they weren't, well, they were probably smoking it, but it was called hemp back then.
Yeah. What you call weed back then.
Old George was growing that, man.
I don't know about that, but that's what's happening around here.
Alright. Alright, anything else? Have a motion to adjourn and go into executive session?
so move.
Second.
All in favor, say
I gotta
aye.
go.
Aye.
Can you do me a favor?